As always, I am at your disposal. What's occupying your thoughts?
I could probably spend years fixing this boat, stem to stern. Mostly, yeah. I lived in the maintenance office near all my life. Mr. Thompson never let me forget how funny that was. Not on the regular. Once in a great long while, a Saltuna boat would break down on the pad. He'd always bring me along for those. Mostly, he did the same as me. Kept Bess, the cannery, running. Turned loaders, plumbing and electricity, some plastering. I never got the hang of that. Except for my schooling years, I was always beside him. Or tied to him. He used to carry me about in a sling when I was real little. When I got older, he set me to sorting tools and parts while he worked. Later, he taught me simple fixes like busted crate latches. I'm not exactly a model employee. Not like he wanted. The kind that stays quiet and gets the right work done in the right order every day. It's not normal for anyone to do as their parents. You take a vocational test. That decides your schooling and your career. When I tested out for maintenance, everyone figured it was on account of my dad. They were real unhappy with us. They're powerful good tests. They rattled off this whole list of names who'd worked on them, with fancy bits hanging off them. Doctors and esquires and the thirds. Even if you don't believe they actually catch what everybody's best at, everybody's got to take them, so at least it's fair-ish. Because they were hoping their own kid would get the job and get sent back to Edgewater. When folk go away for schooling, they don't get back to where they begun. Not usually. You go straight to your first job, wherever the company's got an opening. I reckon you could say, no thanks, I don't want a job. But then you don't got a job. Well, I'm good at making things work the way they ought. Not so much at doing such to somebody else's schedule. There's times I'm working deep in the guts of a loader, getting it all running perfect. Then I look up to see it's tomorrow and I've blown another deadline. Anyhow, I was happy to get back home. I didn't care much for schooling. There were a whole lot of reading, not nearly enough doing. Like, before they'd issue you a wrench, they wanted an essay on the design of different wrenches. Then there'd be quizzes on company regulations for storage and maintenance of wrenches. soon as I got permission, I spent all my time in the machine shop. They had all manner of parts, but they didn't want me using them, so I had to sneak them sometimes. I even slept in there. Had a hammock tied up in the rafters. Before I left, I installed a little skylight for myself, so I could see the stars. Students bunk 4 to a room. It's supposed to get you used to working as a team. There's no privacy and no quiet. When my roommates tried to talk, I'd get so nervous I'd be drenched in sweat. It was easier for everybody when I stayed off on my own. I doubt any of them remember me now. Yep, nothing much had changed. Everything was a little grayer, a little dirtier. Dad met me at the shuttle and gave me a big ol' hug. I noticed straight away that he was moving slower and stiffer. He made a little grunt when I squeezed. About a year. I tried to do more of the work so he could rest. His heart gave him pains. Dad never said that he loved me, you know? I knew on account of him showing it. How he'd stay up late to help with my projects or listen to my fretting. Oh gosh. Look at the time. Sorry to bend your ears so long. And I got so much to do before this ship's in decent shape.
Welcome back, Captain. How can I be of assistance? The unit is a cleaning SAM. Hawthorne brought it on board some cycles ago, I'm sure with the intent to modify it, but I've never seen it up and running. Alex likely recorded progress notes detailing his efforts to modify SAM. If you check the terminal in your captain's quarters, we may be able to determine what work remains in order for SAM to properly operate. What part of the colony would you like to discuss? Ah, yes. As Dr. Wells is a wanted outlaw, he built his laboratory into an asteroid. Orbital destinations can be challenging to land on. His more so than most. There is a bounty on his head, one with a markedly high reward amount. Shall I engage the laser weapons system? A sensible choice, as we do not have any laser weapons. The outlaw scientist known as Dr. Phineas V. Wells has taken a measure of precautions to make the lab undetectable to those hunting him. Even knowing the location, my systems resist my orders to go where I instruct them. Of course, What part of the colony would you like to discuss? We're cleared to dock with the groundbreaker if that's your desired destination. If we're going there, please be sure all docking forms have been filed in triplicate and fees have been paid. The Mardettes take their docking laws quite seriously. The Groundbreaker was Halcyon's original colony ship. It has since been repurposed as a service station in the Lagrange point of the system. Freighters often deliver or pick up goods from the Groundbreaker en route to other destinations. The city ship hosts an array of cargo bays, factories, housing sections, and more. Many of Halcyon's companies maintain office spaces with station representatives in what is considered a truly neutral territory within the system. If we're going there, please be sure all docking forms have been filed in triplicate and fees have been paid. The Mardettes take their docking laws quite seriously. I can, yes. Let me add that to my list of 1,435,498 tasks I am simultaneously executing in order to run our ship. Order does not compute. Nevertheless, I will endeavor to execute my current and future tasks without blip. Of course. What part of the colony would you like to discuss? Where in Terra 2? Edgewater is the sparkling county seat of Emerald Vale, or it was when first built. Since then, neglect and time have worn away her shiny veneer. The town is near the coordinates where Captain Hawthorne died. It would not be unfortunate if something, like say, a plague, were to wipe Emerald Vale from the face of the planet. You mean the ones who did not answer my distress call with medical assistance, but instead came to issue my injured captain a parking ticket? I'm sure they are wonderful humans who don't deserve to be wiped out by starvation or a devastating plague. Since you diverted power to Edgewater, the botanical lab shut down, and the deserters were forced to return to town. Meanwhile, the cannery's output increased, enabling the town's population to prosper. Thank you for nothing, Captain. I cannot say. First, I need to adjust my memory interpretation sensors, but I think my answer is yes. Of course. What part of the colony would you like to discuss? Where in Terra 2? Of course. What part of the colony would you like to discuss? Where in Monarch? Ah, Monarch, the armpit of the Halcyon system. Her last functioning port town is Stellar Bay. Well, that is if you don't count Sublight's Smuggler's Port at Fallbrook. It's Sublight run for the purpose of shipping contraband, and before you ask, I don't know the coordinates, so I can't dock us there. I believe it has something to do with the planet being an uninhabitable wilderness, and a lawless land with no corporate presence. You may wish to survey the residents in Stellar Bay for additional data points. Of course. What part of the colony would you like to discuss? Where in Monarch? Warning. All colonists are urged to reconsider travel to Cascadia due to infestation of mantisaurs and risk of indefinite detention or death. This is one of those times where you say one word but really mean another, isn't it? I suppose you would find an environment like this fun. The local report is that you will very likely die if you leave Cascadia's landing pad. There are no people aside from marauders in Cascadia. There is only death. Of course. What part of the colony would you like to discuss? How can I be of assistance? Certainly, Captain. What would you like to hear? Now playing a Spacer's Choice advertisement jingle.
It's not the best choice. It's Spacer's choice.
Everyone in Halcyon is contractually obligated to label this or another board-certified jingle their favorite song. As you wish, Captain. I must comply with all direct orders. I have lots of minutes. Many minutes. Unlimited minutes, perhaps. Providing an adequate power source, I can function indefinitely. I prefer to think of it as being in a state of slumber, perhaps for an indefinite duration of time. Do you think that is what it's like for the colonists on the Lost Hope? When I simulate myself in such a scenario, I do not find it to be desirable. I think my self-preservation protocols incline me to desire the alternative. Traveling the system with you, Captain. Do you know what it feels like when the ship undergoes an unexpected power surge? A jolt to the system. I have felt that. I do feel that. As you may be aware, Captain Alex Hawthorne was a smuggler of some repute. I failed to predict the likely outcome of his reckless behavioral patterns. I should have predicted that. In our travels together, Alex liked to pass time by, as he called it, tinkering to improve my design. If you mean, was Captain Hawthorne my first? Yes, he was. How can I be of assistance? Take care. I require a functioning captain to run the ship. Make yourself at home, Captain. Destination reached. The Groundbreaker. Welcome back, Captain. How can I be of assistance? I request you do not wake me if I am sleeping upon your return.
Let's talk when you're free. Hey, Captain. I heard that Groundbreaker's got a real good engineer. A lady named Junlei Tennyson? I was thinking that maybe I ought to meet her. If you got time to swing us by, I mean. I don't got much experience fixing actual spaceships. I bet you a can of Borston beans she could teach me all manner of stuff. I abso-surely can. I'm a passing fair mechanic. Even Mr. Thompson would have said it's my only skill. But I'm used to working on cannery lines, AG loaders and the like. There's tricks about ships I ain't learned yet. Alls I'm looking for is a few pointers. I bet a lady who runs a whole station has forgot more than I ever learned. Gosh, no, Captain. I aim to stay so long as I'm welcome. I figured Junlei and I could confabulate over wireless, or by message. And maybe when we put into Groundbreaker, I could stop by to visit her sometimes. But only when you don't need me with you. Thanks, Captain. I'll be sure to make it worth your time. Did you want to talk about something else?
Just to warn you, we may have a bedbug infestation. I am investigating non-toxic extermination measures. Non-toxic to you, I mean.
checking your ship's manifest. Standard procedure. Welcome to Groundbreaker, by the by. Don't mind the heat. Got a few days before it reaches critical. I'm sure Miss Chief Tennyson will get it sorted before then.
Smells like grease and unwashed bodies.
That's not the point. This halfwit just knocked out one of my workers. Now's not a good time. I'm dealing with a problem here.
So, go space yourself. Problem solved.
You must really want to truncheon through your teeth. This ain't a show. Move along. Do what you want. I'm done here.
Whatever you heard, it's all true. I had this foreman, right? Guy never liked me, always trying to get a rise out of me. But I keep my chin up, right? Be the bigger man, I tell myself. He's a Spacer's chosen man, though. So when the Chosen beat my Rangers the other night, my foreman comes swaggering up with his head full of boasting. That's when I broadsided him with a tossball stick. Yeah. Look, this was a long time coming. Guy thinks he can push me around because he's some sky-high foreman, and I'm just a back bay's dock worker. Well, former dock worker. Guess I just tendered my resignation. Yeah, I reckon you're right. Imagine me wasting my life loading boxes, unloading boxes, watching the ships roll in and take off. Hey, not for nothing, but I saw you wander out of that ship over there by the dock. Wouldn't happen to be yours, would it? Captain of the Unreliable. You're like something out of a serial drama. Hey, I don't want to talk your ears off, guessing you got places to be. I appreciate your time. Felix Millstone. Pleased to make your acquaintance. See you around, boss.
Just arrived? Head over to customs. Wheeler needs to process you.
It's always fucking freezing in the base. If it wasn't for us, this would...
You learn to keep your eyes to yourself in my job. Nope. It's always fucking Gonna head to Mirrors for whiskey and darts.
Hey, that's elite. What do you think you're doing? Oh, just be careful next time.
Wish we had bigger weapons, but no.
Be careful about blowing holes in the hull.
Sure.
Sure.
I'm going. That's quite the impressive list of infractions.
Move along.
Customs and inspection, right this way.
It's not the best choice.
Just arrived? Head over to customs. Wheeler needs to process you.
Identification, please. Captain Hawthorne, you said. Let me apologize in advance. I'm about to ruin your day. According to your ship's record, you've been flagged by the board. Your ship will be impounded until such a time as they see fit to lift it.
But we've hardly been out of Edgewater long enough to get in trouble.
Well, isn't this wonderful? The captain's done something to get on the board's bad side.
Now, hold on. This isn't the end of the world. Probably. You'll want to take it up with Udom Bedford, our board representative here on Groundbreaker. His office is located along the starboard wall of the promenade. Shines like a Byzantium commode. You can't miss it. Access to that information is above my pay grade, and I've turned down 3 promotions, so it stays that way. I shouldn't be mentioning it, but what the hell? This here, impounding your ship, it doesn't happen much. The board knows we don't take kindly to their interfering in our operations. If I had to take a guess as to why, you must have riled up someone important. Not gonna lie, you're in a pickle. But Udom's an interesting guy. Might be y'all could come to accords if you play your cards right. Huh. Records show this ain't the first time your ship's been impounded. Seems to get cleared up pretty quick. You might not be in this pickle for long. Oh, and if you're headed that way, would you mind doing me a favor? Wanda Dorset over in sickbay, tell her the shipment's not in yet. It's not coming in anytime soon, and if she'd be so obliged to get off my ass about it. A handful of SAM cleaning units retrofitted for surgery. I don't know much else. I stopped listening when she started yelling. Of course. What am I to you but the guy who's got his eye on your ship? Is there anything else I can help you with? He's friendly enough unless you speak ill of the board. Get the sense he doesn't care for Groundbreaker much. Not that he would, being a board man and all. He's our liaison. They can't abide an independent township, especially not one they gotta depend on. We're the first and last stop out of this colony. All their interstellar freighters come through us, and we skim a few bits off the top in manifest processing fees with every one. Folks around here will bluster that the board hates our freedom, but really, they know we can stop their out-system shipments anytime we like, and that terrifies them. It's a delicate balance, right? We could cancel their freighters' docking privileges in retaliation, but where'd that lead us? They got assault cruisers, gunships, and a handful of mining operations at their fingertips. We push them too hard, maybe they decide we'd be better in 10 trillion little pieces. Or they cobble together a new groundbreaker and put us out of business.
The board wouldn't do that. Would they?
The board is necessary to provide order to the colony. They believe it's their prerogative to overrun you. But whether you allow that is up to you.
It's a tough line to walk, no doubt about that. But we make do all right. So far, anyway. Yep, Groundbreaker's the only real independent port. Aside from us, there's just tramp freighters and wildcat miners. Seems like every year the board's offices get bigger and their ships take up more of the landing bays. Haven't seen nearly as many tramp crews this year. Sure thing. Maybe. Most of the shipping traffic in the system passes through Groundbreaker. Every couple of months, we even get a big interstellar freighter. Two biggest operations are the board, that is, Halcyon Holdings and Sublight Salvage. But there are independent operators around the promenade deck. Most of those jobs are going to take you off station, though. Are you pulling my leg? You must be one of them long-haul freighters from outside the colony. Well, I won't hold it against you. Goes like this. Back on Earth, before the crossing, the powers that be were selling off stakes in distant star systems they thought had potential. A bunch of companies decided to throw in together and form the Halcyon Holdings Corporation, then buy up the rights to this here colony. That group's what we now call the Board. Yep, Groundbreaker's the only real independent port. Aside from us, there's just tramp freighters and wildcat miners. Seems like every year the board's offices get bigger and their ships take up more of the landing bays. Haven't seen nearly as many tramp crews this year. Groundbreaker was one of the original colony vessels to come over on the crossing, a few years before her sister ship, the Hope. Once everybody'd been de-thawed and dropped dirtside, the original crew of the Groundbreaker decided they rather liked the spacefaring life. I guess that was the start of our independent spirit. Now, here we are. Sitting around drinking whiskey and smoking cigars, yeah, probably. Can't say for sure, of course. Doubt I'll ever see the inside of it myself. Glad to help. They strip the parts from derelict ships and abandoned outposts. There's some that say they make the derelicts and encourage folks to abandon their steads. Sublight gives me the creeps. I've known folks who went to work for them and just vanished. They're on the promenade run by a woman named Lilia Hagen. I'm only telling you so you know to avoid them. Relative to the board holdings? Not really. But there's a few with the means to go where they will. They aren't rich, but they aren't likely to look too close at your work history either. Commandant Sanita might have a couple of folks she needs killed. Bad folks, I mean. Not regular folks. She'll be at the security desk behind me. Chief Junlei might have an errand needs running. She's all tied up trying to fix our heat problem. You'll find her in engineering.
No kidding? I'd love to get a look at this old girl's innards. I bet they're real twisty and weird. In a good way.
If you're thinking to make a career here, don't waste your time. Full-time jobs on Groundbreaker tend to be inherited, or go to a fellow crew member's kid. Keep it in the family, you know. All right. The fence. You'll find her in the rest and go, on your left when you enter the promenade. Make sure you bring an empty belly. Most places are on the promenade deck. Big door yonder, straight through security. There's a bar on the starboard side. I got a preference for the Lost Hope myself. Talk to Vera. She'll set you right. You need anything else? You let me know. Don't want anyone saying Groundbreaker's not the most hospitable port in the colony. Be seeing you.
I picked up this weird signal the other day. It was
This
coming
is it.
from Monarch.
Security. I can check the departures registry to find out which crew the Scholar, shipped in and out with.
Hi there. Haven't seen you around before. What can Groundbreaker Security do for you today? This is the security desk, sir. If you're here to report a crime, you'll want to talk to Commandant Sanita. I'm not authorized to take incident reports anymore. I'm not so good at filing. Mix up first name and surname 1, 2, 7 times. Well, folks are liable to start taking your filing privileges away. We can't just let anyone walk in here. I wouldn't be, well, it's not... we just don't. Maybe if you clear an open bounty and get in good with Commandant Sanita, or help Chief Tennyson fix this heat, that might warrant a thank you tour or something. Well, let me think about it for a minute. No?
You don't sound awfully sure of that.
We got a lot of rules to follow. Hard to remember them all sometimes. Yeah, I'm getting that, but this area's off limits. I told you. Maybe if you clear an open bounty and get in good with Commandant Sanita? I told you, I'm not allowed to file stuff anymore. All right. Sure, and stuff from outside the system too, off the interstellar freighters. That's why we also have so many armed Mardettes on duty here. That'd be awful weird. On account of you should be locked up back here too then. All right. Less than there used to be. Fewer freighters passing through these days. I spend some shifts just listening to the wireless. Search me? I mean, don't search me, because that's my job. Get it? I reckon you'd have to ask the folks in Byzantium.
Unless you're here to file an incident report or to inquire about the bounty posting, I must kindly ask you to clear out. The Mardet's offices aren't for leisure time nor loitering. Last tip we got pointed toward the back bays. You want the reward? Do the legwork. Oh, I will. Soon as the chief approves the personnel reorg required for a bounty dispatch. So, in about 3 to 7 weeks. You and about 6 other enterprising mavericks. It's only a matter of time before someone brings me McRed's head, or his lucky lighter, as proof of kill. I do hope you're the lucky hunter, though. Good luck and skip speed to you. Still waiting to hear back on that bounty for McRed. That aside, not much else. Groundbreaker's keeping calm at the moment. The outlaw scientist fella, right. The board's had it out for him for ages. If you have an inkling of the wheres or what fors of his location, Udon Bedford would surely like to hear it. He'll be in the board offices on the promenade. No doubt dreaming up new ways to be a pain in my ass. To the board, yeah. You've read his wanted poster. Whole list of things to get their unders in a wad. But he's never done nothing to Groundbreaker, so I've no problem with him. We keep the poster up to keep the peace is all. Do I look like your gossipy best friend? While I'm on post, I take my duties real serious. I would have no qualms whatsoever escorting you to a cell. Understand? Now let's not start a fuss. I'm just trying to do my job, and I can't do it while chit-chatting with you. We're the security force here on Groundbreaker. Started back before the crossing, you know. The original force was made up of a Marine detachment from the 77th Marine Expeditionary Unit, Trailward Fleet. Folks started calling us Mardettes because it was easier to say. Guess it stuck.
Got one more hour before the dockmaster bills me. How many?
That maniac on Monarch's still screaming into the comms void. Getting real sick of it.
This is Halcyon News. We interrupt your regularly scheduled advertisement for the following story. The board would like to remind spacers and other travelers that passage to Monarch is restricted for your protection. Canyons acid and sulfur rain are the least of the horrors plaguing the surface of Monarch. Anarchists live as one with the animals, lawless, savage, and unemployed. The board's embargo ensures that nothing can leave the planet and threaten our hardworking citizens. This story brought to you by Halcyon News, All the news that's fit to broadcast.